Will Smith won what was it, Best Actor, bruv?
Yeah.
For his role in what was it, the Serena Williams movie,
King Richard.
But what people don't know,
this guy's a dickhead.
On the side, you know where I'm going with this, bruv. On the side, Aljamain was there, and he was complaining about why he didn't win the Oscar for his performance in their first fight with Petr Yan, bruv.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz on the Roundtable Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy Tooth in the building. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, bruv. How are you, man?
Bruv, same old. You know me, bruv. I'm happy to be here with you again, bruv.
Oh, thanks, bruv. It's always a pleasure to be on, bruv. You know what time it is, bruv? It's the review before the preview, on the free view, any kind of view you can think of, bruv. Bird's eye view. Do you know what I mean, bruv? We're here to break it down, bruv, one more time, bruv. But not for the last time, though.
Oh, of course not, bruv. But people, as you know what it is. When Tooth's here, our Nate D as a dentistry, our MMA connoisseur, when he's in the building, you know what time it is. It's time for Fight Talk. And as you said, it's another preview. We are previewing the big card that is coming up on UFC 273. We've got so many fights to get through, so we're going to be giving you a daily dose of all those breakdowns and our predictions as usual. But before we start, you know what it is. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Likes up, subscriptions up, all that good stuff. I say all the time, share. We are here. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. Currently got the Arsenal game in the background. So, if you hear me start laughing, people, you know why. It is what it is. But massive card. It's probably the biggest card of the year so far. UFC 273, 3 big fights coming up. And Tooth got to start with the main event, which is Volkanovski versus Koreans. This guy, the reason why Tooth, you can't see Tooth, he's busting up right now. Yeah, while we were off air, we were talking, innit? And I was saying to him, I had to do my research on Korean Zombie, bro. I didn't know much about him. And it was one of them ones where Tooth was like, as long as Tooth said he's good, he's good. And that's exactly what I think. If Tooth says this guy is, bro, he says this guy should have all the belts, Bantamweight, Featherweight, Welterweight, Heavyweight, bro, I'm going with what he says because he's the man in the know.
Oh, bruv, that was hilarious, bruv, man. Let the people know the truth, bruv. You proper sugarcoated it, Man said he had 3 pages of notes, And I'm like, rah, bruv, that is bare notes, bruv. Why do you have that many notes? He's like, I know nothing about Korean Zombie. So I was like, bro, so all these times on the WhatsApp group, when I've been talking about this guy, you've just been like, yeah, because I said he's good. He must be good. Bro, but let's do it, bruv. Since we're talking about him, we might as well talk about him. Do you know what I mean, bruv? What you got for me, bruv? What did you find out about the Zombie?
Well, I found out that he's 17-6. That's his record, right?
Bruv, do you know what, yeah? I was so amazed that you didn't come out with his height and reach off the cuff.
No. We're saving that for a little bit later on. We're saving that.
I knew it, bruv. I knew it.
Obviously, Volkanovski versus Korean Zombie featherweight title fight. Obviously, let's break it down for the people. It was said that it was supposed to be Volkanovski versus Max 3 after Max came off his win against Yair. It was Yair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rodriguez. Yeah. Unfortunately, Max got injured. Korean Zombie stepped in, but then there was some fuckeries like Max got fit, so he's now. If Korean Zombie ever got injured, then Max would step in. It was just all a mess. But what we know now is Korean Zombie. He is in the main event. This is his shot at the title. Let's talk about Korean Zombie. I said he's 17-6. I think is he coming off a win? I can't remember if he's coming off a win. Against I'm trying to remember, bruv.
Dan Ige.
Yeah. I couldn't remember his name, bruv, because I was like, I've never heard you say him, so I was like, this guy must have been crap, bruv. So
no, Dan Ige's all right. So Korean Zombie's last fight was against a guy that was like up and coming prospect. He had made a little wave for himself. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of hype, and Zombie just derailed it, bro. Just derailed it, like without a question. Just completely mullered him, blood. But yeah, his record before that has been somewhat inconsistent. But the guys that he's lost to in the UFC are all guys. Well, he's only had 3 losses, and all those 3 losses are what? Ortega,
and obviously the only title shot that he had, which was out against Aldo.
Yeah, and you could argue that was maybe a prime Aldo as well.
Yeah.
And he lost that fight because of an injury as well. Like he took a kick to the collarbone or something, and it dislocated his shoulder.
Okay.
And Aldo just swarmed him, but he was holding his own against Aldo. And in the Yair fight, he was beating Yair as well. That was fight of the year. That went all the way to the last round, to the last second, where Yair threw an elbow straight out of a manga fucking anime, bro. Like no one's ever seen that elbow before, unless like you probably watch Muay Thai or something. But it was some crazy elbow, bro. The way it ended was just insane. And then his last loss was against Ortega, which propelled Ortega onto a title fight. So all those guys that he lost to are not. That's nothing to be ashamed of at all.
Nah, 100. And this is the thing. As I said, when you list off those names that he's lost to, so one thing we have to say, he's had the experience of going up against the best, but we know Volkanovski is a completely different animal. You don't beat Max Holloway twice without being elite, and we understand that. We know what's going to be coming from Volkanovski. It's going to be 100 miles an hour, straight 25 minutes. He's going to press him. It's going to be high energy, high octane. Obviously, the leg kicks that he uses so notoriously are going to play a part. But so I think it's very predictable what we're going to see from Volkanovski. But what I want to know from you is, how does Korean Zombie beat this guy? Because as I said, this guy's undefeated since he's come to the UFC. I think the only loss he has was somewhere else. I don't know what it was in, but it was at welterweight, because obviously he used to play rugby or something like or something along those lines or something like that. So how does Korean Zombie beat this guy? Because at this moment in time, I think there was only one time this guy's ever been in trouble, like really in trouble. That was the last fight against Ortega. Do you remember in the 3rd round?
Well, this is the thing, man. I feel like we kind of didn't give Zombie the credit he deserved, because we just talked about his losses and how well he done in them, despite him losing to top tier guys. But he's beaten also top tier guys. He's beaten Dustin Poirier, bro. He's choked out Poirier before. His first 2 fights in the UFC, they were like real fight. Like he announced himself on the scene. His first win was by a twister submission, which again, no one has ever seen.
No one does that.
Yeah, no one. He was the first one to do it in MMA.
Okay.
And then his second fight, he knocked out the guy in like 3-4 seconds on some Jorge Masvidal shit. Like first punch thrown, knockout.
Was that the uppercut? Was that the uppercut? Am I right in saying that?
I think no. The uppercut was against Dennis Bermudez. I think that was the one against. That was the one after the Aldo loss. He came back. He fought Dennis Bermudez. That was after he'd done conscription in Korea as well. So he was out of the game for 2 years because he had to do military service. Then he came back after the Aldo loss and knocked out Dennis Bermudez with that punch. And everyone knew, oh shit, Zombie's back. Like, do you know what I mean? He lost to Yair, but like I said, he was winning that fight. Up until the very last second, Yair knocked him out on the last second of the fight.
Mm.
And then after that, he went on a tear as well. He knocked out Renato Moicano, who also was an up-and-coming prospect, but has been on a skid. And then he beat Frankie Edgar as well, knocked them both out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then in his last fight we discussed earlier, he beat Dan Ige, also another up-and-comer prospect, was making waves for himself. Legitimate competition, do you know what I mean? And then speaking of the matchup against Volkanovski, the only time where I've seen Volkanovski really, I don't want to say troubled even, but I would say hesitant or unsure of himself was, I can't remember if it was the second fight with Max, where it was the first 2 rounds, where he was a bit sheepish.
Max, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He looked a bit sheepish. It didn't look like he had got his flow. And then after the 3rd, 4th round, all right, he got himself back into the game. And I feel that's because, like you mentioned, his style is very relentless. It's all about forward pressure, putting pressure on the guy, enforcing your will on the guy. Well, Zombie is exactly the same, if not worse. That's why he got his name, the Korean Zombie. This guy constantly moves forward, no matter what you throw at him. You can't get rid of him, basically. And then it brings up that question of what happens when the bully gets bullied. So what happens when Volkanovski can't do what his bread and butter is? The only time we've seen it, in my opinion, was in that in the second Max fight, in the first 2 rounds, where it was like, hold on a second, that may have even been a part of his game plan. I don't know, but like we may need to go and verify that. But if Zombie was able to do that to Volkanovski, it will be very interesting. The outcome of the fight will be very interesting.
No, I hear that, and I think if Zombie was able to nullify, and as you said, like constant pressure Volkanovski, it would throw up something that we haven't seen before, and Volkanovski would have to try very hard to try and adjust to that, because Volkanovski's used to just absolutely dominating his opponents. I know we said he was a little bit hesitant against Max, but Korean Zombie is a completely different animal when it comes to that. But at the same time, Korean Zombie coming forward like that could be a very big mistake, because he does leave himself open to shots. And I think someone like Volkanovski could thrive off that. What do you think?
But listen, Korean Zombie is an elite striker. When he's moving forward, he is taking shots, but I feel like he's not a walking punching bag by any means, and I don't feel like he's going to put himself in that position. He's a very intelligent fighter, bro. Very intelligent. Like he got the first twister in the UFC. Do you know what I mean? He did make that mistake once, and he paid for it dearly, which would have been an assured win and fight of the night. Turned out to be a very heartbreaking loss or a very humiliating loss against Yair Rodriguez for taking that risk in the last 10 seconds of the final round, which arguably would have propelled him onto a title shot or something, or a contender shot or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's learned from his losses, and I feel like also we have to take into consideration this fight is being done on short notice. Like he's stepping up to replace Max. So we have to question whether he's had a full training camp. I'm not expecting him to come out all guns blazing either. It's going to be a 5-round fight. We know Volkanovski is a finisher to a certain extent, but he's more of a cardio machine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100. Yeah.
He can go 5 rounds easily and probably another 5 rounds. He's built for it. So you have to imagine that Zombie's going to come in to try capitalize on his spots in the fight, as opposed to like dominate the fight or have a strategy for every fucking round to go out and be on the offense. Do you know what I mean? He should. I feel like there's gonna be spots in the fight where he's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna sit back a bit. Let Volkanovski bring it to me to preserve himself. But essentially, he's still gonna be the zombie. He is still gonna be the zombie. I feel like he can hurt Volkanovski, especially if Brian Ortega was able to hurt Volkanovski.
Because he has got one punch knockout power.
Yeah, man. And this is where you have to come in with the height and the reach, bro. That was an alley-oop for you, bro.
It's true, but I think the way how Korean Zombie fights, I don't think height and reach really plays a part, or does it?
Exactly. No, I agree. I agree, bro. I agree. All that, you can throw all that shit out the window because Zombie doesn't fight at range.
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? Zombie doesn't have that John Jones style, that fucking, that long, even though he has it. That's not his style, bruv. That's definitely not his style. If there's one thing you know about Zombie, he is a fucking animal, bruv. He's a fighter. He's like one of those sort of Nate Diaz guys, but he's more committed to the game. But his fighting style, he comes to fight. It's a fight for him. It's not a sport.
Yeah.
It's not a sport for him. Do you know, you see what I'm
trying
to say?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Completely, there's a differentiation between those guys, bro. Someone will get into Petr Yan, but we know when Petr Yan gets in there, he's coming to rip your fucking head off. It's a street fight for him. But we can say someone like Aljo is a student of the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Aljo is a student of the game, bruv. He understands, no pun intended here, but he understands the rules of the game, bruv. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows where to go for the win. And he knows where to sort of coast and sit back and actually, do you know what? I'm cruising right now. There's no need for me to take any more sort of he's much more intelligent in that sense. Whereas with someone like Yan, the mindset is always all right, this guy's head has to come off in this round.
Yeah.
Every single round. And similarly with my man, Zombie, it's the same. It's he's going out there to finish, to end the fight. He's not going out there to try win on decision. So that'll be also interesting because Volkanovski's fighting someone with, let's say, a killer instinct, a proper killer instinct. I'm just looking at his record now. And other than the Dan Ige fight, which went to a unanimous decision, every other victory on the UFC for Zombie has all been by finishes.
Yeah. So
Edgar knockout, Moicano knockout, Bermudez knockout, Poirier, Das choke, Hominick knockout, Leonard Garcia submission. Do you know what I mean? All his other fights have all been finishes. So it'll be It will be a very interesting fight. And we'll see if all those factors come into play, like the short training camp, that whole sort of, will Volkanovski be able to handle someone with such a killer instinct? What will happen when Zombie puts some pressure on Volkanovski? These are all very intriguing things. So having said that, I fancy Zombie's chances, bro.
You have to, because as I said, it's something different, something that we haven't seen before. From Zombie's perspective, though, because we know, as we said, Volkanovski had pressure, always trying to basically pummel his opponent into submission. How did Zombie has to deal with Volkanovski's lateral movement? He's not going to stand there and want to trade. So I think one of Zombie's biggest assets that he has to use is that, rather, it's the same. The both of them are going to be trying to do it, leg kicks. But I think for Zombie, the leg kicks are more important because obviously, as we know, the leg kicks will slow Volkanovski down, and then that then gives Volkanovski a decision to make. Does he stand in trade, which he doesn't want to do because Zombie has that one-punch knockout power? But I think if it was to go to the ground, for you, who has the advantage there? Because we know Volkanovski likes to ground and pound, but would you say Zombie has the edge there because of all the different submission techniques that he could go into, or is it Volkanovski that has the advantage on the ground?
That's what I'm saying, bruv. Like, you don't want to go to the ground with the Zombie, bro. You just don't want to take that risk. He's legit on the ground. Zombie is legit on the ground. But again, that's another thing that I'm hoping we will learn on fight night is like, is Zombie's ground game superior to Volk's? But in my opinion, I don't know if it's superior, but I think, let's say, if Volk takes him down, I expect Zombie to get back up. And I think anyone who knows Zombie expects Zombie to get back up. Or to be threatening with submissions more so. However, you know, you said something as well about if they get into the pocket and they start trading. I would think Volk may want to do that, you know. He may want to do that, bro, because, like I said,
I don't think he will, though. I think he'll want to constantly move and not allow. Like, I can understand what you're saying because Volk stand-up game. That, as I said, he's a volume sort of fighter, so he will want to trade in 3s and 4s. But the two times Zombie, the two times that I remember, this is what I was going to say, bruv. The two times I remember Zombie being put on his backside was against, obviously, Yair. Yeah.
And I think Ortega, I can't remember what round, but somewhere during the fight, Ortega caught him clean on the forehead and dropped him. And that's what I mean. Zombie's an intelligent fighter, but that has been a trait that we've seen before. So I may be predicting something here. If he doesn't polish up on that, that is there for the taking. Two other elite fighters have put him down by getting into the pocket with him and trading off with him. The champ will easily do that if he gets his opportunity. So he may want to encourage that just to force Zombie into making a mistake and clipping him. But having said that, like we've said, you don't want to play games with Zombie. Like he doesn't mind eating a shot in order to give a shot twice as hard. So,
nah.
But what do you think? What do you think about Volkanovski having to? Because this also affects Volkanovski. You know, he's been planning for Max for the third time for the trilogy, and now he all of a sudden he's being told, "All right, now you're fighting Zombie."
I don't think it will bother him too much. I think that, yes, obviously it's always going to be off-putting because you're supposed to be fighting. Max is a completely different style than Korean Zombie. But I think with Volkanovski, I think he's so confident in the way that he fights. It doesn't really matter who he comes up against. He makes the little adjustments depending on who he's facing. But I think the basis of his work is basically, this is what I'm good at and this is what I'm going to do. And no one has put him in a position for a sustained amount of time where he's had to change up his game. So I don't think it will bother him too much. But at the same time, obviously, preparing for one fighter and then having to prepare for another, it's always going to be difficult.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. It's sort of like a Usman thing. Like, he doesn't prepare for you. You prepare for him. Like, no matter who it is, you're just that good that no matter who they put in front of you, they have to prepare for you. Yeah, man, it's going to be deep, bro. It's going to be deep.
100, bro. What's your prediction? Like, I don't know, innit? I'm me personally. I'm going Volk in the third, bruv. Stoppage.
I'm gonna go for Volk, but I'm gonna bet, and I want Zombie to win. Not only do I think he can, I think he can win. If the stars align on fight night, he is deserving enough and good enough to be a champion. 100%.
No, 100.
It will be a historic moment as well, bruv. There's never been a Korean champion. You know, they've had a Chinese champion with Zhang Weili. Yeah, they've not had a Korean champion. So that'll be interesting. But also, it shakes up that division one time, doesn't it, bro?
Yeah,
it shakes it up. And you know we love that, bro. You know we love when something like that just happens to a division and it just gets shaken up.
Because then it goes, all right, cool, well, does Volk get the... Bruv, then you get onto your trilogies and your quadruples. Because it's like Volk has to get a rematch. But Max is going to be like...
You know what I want, bro? Bro, I want chaos. That's all I want. If the viewers of this show do not know this by now, they've been like, just unsubscribe. Do you know what I mean?
Stop telling people to unsubscribe.
I just want chaos, bro. That's the second body in a row, blood. I'm seeing if it works. I'm seeing if those numbers, bro. It's reverse psychology, innit, bro? It's reverse psychology, bro. Because you know when I say that, yeah. You know when I say that, bro, the real hardcore goons, they're gonna be like, you know what, blood? Yeah, blood, we need to subscribe. This is the real shit, bro. He's telling all the fake ones to fuck off. You know what I mean?
I hear that, bro. But
no, but for real, I think if it goes down, yeah, and Zombie wins, bro, where does it leave Max? Where does it leave Volk? Where does it leave Ortega? Where does it leave? Like, there's so many. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful fit. Everything is just like, it's like spring. Everything's given life again. That whole division is given life again. But on the other hand, at the same time, are we witnessing greatness here with Volk just claiming scalp after scalp after scalp of great fighters? So I don't mind whichever outcome it is, to be honest, but I want Zombie to win. I want Zombie to win. I'm going to go with Volkanovski in decision, but if I had it my way, I'm going to say Zombie by submission in the third.
Nah, I hear that. And people, Tooth hasn't been wrong for a long time on these predictions. So it may just come to pass that will happen. But we got to move on. Because this is the fight that Tooth and I have been waiting for. This is the fight, people, that we won't agree. I think it's the first time that we're not going to agree. We will agree in the end, but for the initial, we're not going to agree. It is the co-main event. It is my boy, my yard man, my dog, the champ, bruv, the champ, Aljamain Sterling going up against Petr Yan in the second fight. Aljo clearly was winning the first fight, and then Yan had to use those underhanded cheating tactics and come with that illegal knee that nearly killed my boy, right? That's what I'm saying, nearly killed him, right? And now 12 months later, we are coming back full circle and they are going at it again. Tooth, what are you telling me, bruv?
Bro, you know, there was a lot of confusion at the Oscars, yeah? Because people thought Will Smith won what was it, Best Actor, bruv?
Yeah.
For his role in what was it, the Serena Williams movie,
King Richard.
But what people don't know, yeah,
this guy's a
is on the
dickhead.
side, you know where I'm going with this, bruv. On the side, Aljamain was there, and he was complaining about why he didn't win the Oscar for his performance in their first fight with Petr Yan, bruv. Bruv, for real though, it was an illegal knee. It was not a legal move. It was to a certain extent. You may call it dirty, you may not, depending on how you look at it. But we can't deny that Aljo milked it. Like, he milked it, bruv. Even to the untrained professional Actors Guild, Stanislavski fucking method acting. Like, you could tell my man was fucking milking it, bruv. He was milking it, bruv. And fair play to him. Fair play to him, bruv. If that's how he wants to go out and win the title, like, who are we to tell him otherwise? However, this rematch has been long in the making, bro. Like, people have pulled, rearranged, and so he can hand over that title.
Man said hand over, you know.
Hand over. Do you know what I mean? Like, my prediction for this fight is simple, bro. First round,
whoa, we ain't even got to the predictions yet, bro. There's not going to be any first rounds.
Listen,
there's not going to be no first round knockout. No.
Aljo's going to walk over, hand Petr Yan the belt, and that's it. That's the fight. That's it. It's finished. That's going to be the fight.
Bro, listen. All banter aside. Obviously, as Tooth said, there was an illegal knee. Aljo, rightly so. Me personally, on a real, I'd rather it have been called a no contest. I'd rather it just been a no contest and then they rematch some other time. But obviously, it is what it is. The rules are the rules. He's gotten the belt.
Bro, I think you're right about that, bro. I think, honestly, you hit the nail on the head again, bro. If it was a no contest, no one would give a fuck. Everyone would have gone on. But the fact that Aljo was given the win, he went on to, like, glorify himself and then sort of throw shade at Yan. I think a lot of the fan base just despised that and then just naturally went over to Petr Yan's side and started saying, like, you know, defending him basically and trying to just accuse Aljo of milking it, where the truth of the matter is it was an illegal knee. It was Aljo milking it. And the truth of the matter is it should have been a no contest, period. Like, no, there was no winner to that fight. But there was a winner. We know who won that fight. Definitely not Aljo. But based on those circumstances, it should have just been no contest and everyone would have moved on.
This is it. And
here we are. And it's made it more interesting. We can't deny it, bro. It's made it hella more interesting.
Well, that's what's happened. The build-up to the fight's obviously been anticipated because we had a couple cancellations. The fight's been pushed back for whatever reason. What I will say about Yan before we get into the technicals is that, as you know, this isn't the first time this has happened. He does play on the edge. I think it was, what was it? He got deducted a point. Was it Magomedov? Am I saying that right? I think it was before the UFC.
Yeah, he done the same thing. Yeah.
So he's got history for it. He does play on the edge. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but 100% get where Tooth is coming from, where Aljo kind of, like, at first everyone felt sorry for him. Obviously, people turned on him because then you're kind of throwing shade and whatnot. Yes, it's an illegal knee. Yes, he's got previous, but there's nothing to gloat about. You got handed the belt. You're getting your ass kicked. Let's be honest here. And, like, bro, like, now there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You've got to now face the man that basically was beating you to a pulp. Before that illegal knee happened, like, you were going to lose that fight and lose it badly because Yan was absolutely having his way with you, bruv. Like, literally. But we are here. It is the second fight. As far as Yan's concerned, it's same as, like, he doesn't really need to do anything. I think he had something like 7 takedowns in the first fight. He knocked Aljo down as well. So he showed the punching power, showed that he can take him down at his will, absolutely dominated him throughout the rounds. So it's business as usual for Yan. For Aljo, if I remember correctly from the first fight, correct me if I'm wrong, Aljo was constantly trying to take him down and he just couldn't. I think he landed like one takedown in like 14 or 15 attempts or something like that. And I think even that one takedown, I think Yan pretty much got back up straight away. So for you, because obviously I defer to you. I know your team Yan. I know you know Yan's gonna win, but from Aljo's point of view, like, is there for you, is there any angle that he can come at this fight and not necessarily win, but cause a problem for Yan? Because me personally, I think people, like I had a lot of people say try and wrestle him, but is that really an avenue you can go down? Like, I can't see how Aljo can do this, bro. But from your perspective, is there anything that he can do?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, let's not get it twisted, man. Aljamain, despite the mockery we make of him now, is a very good fighter, bro. Like, you don't beat Corey Sandhagen like that and not be a good fighter. Do you know what I mean?
You choked him in it. Was that a choke?
Yeah, in the first round. And you don't go on the run that he had by being a mediocre fighter. We know Aljo's a good fighter. He's a very complete mixed martial artist. He came in the game being a grappler and a submission guy, but then he managed to put everything together. You're right. There is still a big margin between Yan and Aljo based off what we saw in the last fight. Even to the untrained eye, someone could look at that fight up until the disqualification and be like, yeah, there was clearly one person ever going to win this fight. However, it's not to take away from Aljo that he didn't have moments of success, especially in the first round. Where he was doing a lot of volume. He was applying a lot of volume to Yan. Now, the problem with that is that's not sustainable over a 5-round fight. You're going to slow down. You're going to get tired.
Yeah, he's not Volkanovski. He's not Cardio Kane. Like, Aljo's not built that way.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Even if you are those guys, you still do succumb to fatigue, especially if you are up. Like, look at Colby. Colby is a cardio king, but when he came up against someone who was also a cardio king, like Usman, he struggled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that happens as well. Like, your skill sets can cancel or nullify someone else's strength. So with that, it's hard to say if cardio will be enough for Aljo to see through this fight. But he did have success in the stand-up. He also, what we also know about Yan is we haven't seen Yan in any sort of trouble.
This is the thing.
Sort of trouble. So will Yan be the kind of guy that at the first sight of trouble will tap or will quit?
I think based on the way how he fights, I don't think you can. Don't get me wrong, it could happen, but I very much doubt that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, you're right. The likelihood of it being correct is very unlikely. All right, because as we know, it's a kill or be killed attitude with Petr Yan. But again, with that type of fighting style, with those types of fighters, we've seen it before. Like when the bully gets bullied, one of three things are going to happen. He's either going to give up quickly, he's either going to tap quickly, or he's just going to find an excuse to lose the fight. Do you know what I mean? It happened with Masvidal not too long ago. You know, it happened with Nate Diaz against Masvidal, against Leon Edwards. Like, you know, once they know they're going to lose the fight, they're just in there. Like, even when they get their moment, they don't capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Leon got rocked by Nate Diaz. Colby got rocked by Masvidal. Neither of them jumped on that opportunity. So it's like, will we see that happen to Petr Yan? Again, unlikely, but if we're talking about paths to victory for Aljo, which are very slim, we are kind of relying on these intangibles. Do you know what I mean? Like, hopefully Yan will wilt at the first sign of struggle. Do you know what I mean? And then Aljo may wrap him up. Alternatively, man, Aljo may, you know, like the Corey Sandhagen fight, something may come up really quickly and he may just snatch it, grab it, and tap him.
Well, this is it. Like, I think one of the things that Aljo definitely has to do in this fight, he has to manage his energy levels better, because I don't get me wrong, that's not to say that Yan didn't absolutely wear him out, but because Aljo put in so much work in the first round, after once Yan took control, that was it, and he literally just burned him out. But the problem with Aljo is that I think his best bet is trying to stand it up. Personally, keep it on the feet, because he's not going to take him down. Doesn't really want to get into close quarters with Yan. So keep it at length, and I think he just has to be unpredictable. I think he has to try and, I don't know, bruv. I'm struggling to find a way that he was it, but I think
he has to be elusive enough. Yeah. Because Yan is a very intelligent fighter. He will read you and figure out your rhythm and your timing. Aljo has to do something to disrupt that. And so you're right about being unpredictable, but it's like, how does he set those traps? I don't know. His corner are not very famous for being crafty sort of tacticians like that. You know, we're talking about Chris Weidman and them, man. Bruv, all-American fucking Captain America out here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them man there, bruv. Like fucking Navy SEALs. So they're not really the smartest tacticians out there. But if it was me in his corner, that's what I'd be saying. I'd be saying, like, throw some shit out there, get him to think that's what you're gonna throw, and then change it up, switch it up. Definitely do not chase the takedowns, because you know you completely flopped with that last time.
Yeah, 100.
One of those, but it's one of those ones. If it goes to the ground, jump on him and wrap him up like you did against Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
You're right in the fact that his best chances of winning this fight are standing up, but even those chances are fucking minuscule, because Yan is light years ahead of him striking.
Yeah, this is the problem. Because Yan,
even in that department, he's going to have to take punishment, bro. Even in that department, he's going to have to take punishment in order to find a moment where he may be able to catch him or take advantage of one of his mistakes.
Nah, 100. Look, Aljo's my boy, but when the dust settles and you look at it, everything points to Yan and the way how he's been so dominant in the UFC. And I think one of the things, as I said, Aljo game plan in the first one was to try and take it to the ground. You're trying to go to the ground against a guy that's got 89% takedown defense. Like, it's just not going to work. So he has to come up with a different angle. Whereas Yan is just business as usual. I think the only difference we may see from Yan is that he's going to, because of everything that's gone on and the nature of the loss and how Aljo has carried on since, I think Yan will definitely want to finish him. But Tooth, bro, what you say? What you telling me?
First round, Aljo walks over, hands him the belt on one knee. No, I'm joking. I think, Petr Yan is going to win, and I think it will be fourth round finish. Fourth round. I think everything that happened in the first fight is going to repeat itself without the illegal strike. I think, and in that round, Yan will TKO. Yeah, I think he'll beat him by strikes. Like really decisively whoop his ass on in the striking department, and then Aljo will crumble, and then similar to the Jose Aldo fight. That's the way I see it happening. Similar to the Jose Aldo fight, like a brutal finish. What are you saying, bruv? Aljo.
Bro, I'm saying Aljo Go Plaza, bruv. In the fourth, bruv.
Bruv, man said flying Go Plata off stage, bruv. In the fifth round. In the final 10 seconds.
Bruv, all on the line, bruv. After Yan dominates for 24 and a half minutes, bruv.
Anderson Silva shit, bruv. Chelsea on him, bruv. Tell him, bruv. Tell him.
Nah, real talk. Nah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be Tico on the third for Yan. I don't think Aljo is going to last the 5 rounds, but I'm praying for my boy. Don't worry, I'm praying for
don't
him.
worry, bruv. You know the trilogy, the quadruple is happening.
Yeah, bro. It has to be a trilogy fight, bro. Like, if Aljo loses the belt, the rematch clause will be in there as he's the champ, and they're gonna have to go.
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
bro.
No, for sure. Probably. You're probably right.
But yeah, all right. But yeah, people will see what happens with that fight. It seems like it's a done deal. But bruv, stranger things that happened in the UFC, bruv. We didn't think Amanda Nunes was gonna lose, and she ended up losing. So anything can happen in the fight game.
Exactly, bruv. And that was when the bully got bullied as well, bruv. That was when the
100.
bully got bullied as well, bruv. But yeah,
100. The third fight, bruv, they're calling it the people's fight. It's the fight that probably the majority of people are excited to see, bruv. Your boy, bruv.
Yeah,
Your
man.
boy Khamzat, bruv.
Yeah, man.
Versus Gilbert Burns. It's at welterweight. It's at welterweight, isn't it? Yeah, at welterweight.
Yeah.
What is it? I think Khamzat is ranked 11th. Gilbert Burns is second in the welterweight division, bro. It's an intriguing fight. I personally believe. I think when I mentioned it to you, you was like lightweight. But this is the biggest test for Khamzat. Everyone before that has been nobodies, but he's taken on Gilbert Burns, very experienced. Obviously, had his title fight against Usman, caused Usman a little bit of problem. So you talk to me, bruv. What are you saying about this fight? Because I don't think this fight is going to be as straightforward as everyone else is putting it. Don't get me wrong. I still think Khamzat will win, and obviously we'll get to the prediction, but I don't think it's going to be as straightforward. But people are basically saying this is going to be done in the first round, bro.
Well, I'm on the hype train, bro. That's why. I'm on foot. I think we are witnessing the GOAT. I think we are witnessing the GOAT right now. I do. You know, this is like
what better than Habib, better than Bones?
He will be.
Really?
He will be.
Bruv, talk to me, bruv. Talk to me.
Not now. But he will be. He will be. You remember, like, let me put an analogy for you, bro. When Jordan was like making that, like, the playoffs and getting knocked out in the first round.
Celtics, yeah.
Yeah, bro. There was still a man like Larry Bird. There was still a man like Johnson. Do you know what I mean? Magic and those guys. But everyone knew that, all right, this is the kick. Everyone knew. Do you know what I mean? And it's similar with like Kobe as well. When Kobe came through, there was like fucking Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, those men. Do you know what I mean? But everyone knew Kobe's the one. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same shit. Like, Khamzat is the one. I have that feeling. I'm fully on the hype train, bro. I feel he's going to be that someone special, bro. And I had that same feeling with Conor as well. I had the same feeling with like all the superstars they push through, all of them. I've got that same feeling with Khamzat, if not even better, because he's much better than Conor and Rousey and all the other guys that they push, and Ngannou, everyone. He's better than Usman, in my opinion, or he will be better than all these guys. He will be. He's just a different animal, bro.
Talk to me, educate me, bro, because I've seen a couple of his fights. But the thing is, when you watch his fights, bro, they don't last long enough for me to see anything. That's why I said, like, as much as I expect Khamzat to win this fight, I think Burns, based on his experience, obviously we can't write him off. He's an experienced fighter. He's been there and done it. He has got one punch knockout power as well. So it's going to be a different test for Khamzat, bro. But obviously, Khamzat having... No, it's not going to be.
It's going to be
Khamzat having...
It's going to be a step up in competition.
But Khamzat having the height and reach advantage, over Gilbert Burns. It's going to be a mad one, bruv. It's going to be a mad one. But talk to me how you see this fight, because you're obviously fully on the hype trend. Talk to me about Khamzat. What is it about this guy that you say he's just going to walk through everybody in this division? Obviously, you said not now, but eventually this is what will happen. Talk to me about why you believe this.
Well, his background is wrestling, and his wrestling is unfuckwittable. If it wasn't for like visa issues, passport issues, he would have been an Olympic champion. Do you know what I mean? Easily, because there's stories of him completely demolishing guys that went on to become accomplished wrestlers. Do you get what I mean? His striking is insane for the short period of time that he's adapted it into his game. There's stories of him like in the gym, similar to Khabib, mythical levels, bro. Like this guy never loses. This guy spars with heavyweights, and
I heard that.
You don't always believe that shit, but once in a do you know what I mean? Once in a while, someone comes out and says shit like that about someone, and you're like, do you know what? Actually, that I don't feel like that's a lie. You know what I mean? Like I could imagine Khamzat going in there and beating everyone. His last 3 fights in the UFC, he didn't even take a hit. The first 2 guys questionably were like tomato cans, but still, they didn't even land a punch on him. They didn't even throw a punch. And then in his last fight, he fought a ranked guy who was like a problem, and completely smoked him. So with Gilbert, do you know what I mean? Gilbert is a good fighter, but he ain't anything special, bro.
Nah.
He ain't special like that, bro. Yeah, you're top 5, top 10. You're like, in the world, you are at the top of the mountain. Do you know what I mean? You are at the apex with those guys, but you're still not something special. Like Khamzat's got that X factor, bro. And like I said, I'm expecting Khamzat to come out and completely smoke Gilbert Burns on a Usman level, like just like light work, like he was nothing. And yeah, it's going to be onwards and upwards from here. It's going to be undeniable after that fight.
The thing for me is, right, I said I hear you, but he's never been tested. We believe this could be a test. It's not like you said Burns is a good fighter. Burns is coming off a good streak. Barring losing to Usman, I mean, he's beaten obviously an over the hill Woodley, fair enough. He beat Damian Maia. He beat Wonder Boy in his last fight. These are good names. These are good names.
All of them over the hill. All of them over the hill. All of them. Bro, Damian Maia's prime was when he fought for a title against Anderson Silva like 10 years ago. Wonder Boy's prime was 5 years ago when he was fighting for a title against Woodley.
Woodley, yeah, I remember that fight.
Bro, Woodley's prime was against Wonder Boy in the same title fight 5 years ago. And ever since then, he's been on the decline. All these guys that he fought were all over the hill past it. Big names and accomplished guys that you still have to train for, take seriously, difficult fights. But not like, you know what I mean? Like, when you break it down, Khamzat could have won those fights. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like Khamzat would have struggled in those fights. But I'm not gonna write Burns off. Like, he does have pedigree. He can Khamzat. He can finish Khamzat, whether it be with his one punch knockout power, which again I don't really rate too highly, but his jiu-jitsu I do. So yeah, he's got tools to beat a guy like Khamzat, but I just don't think he can. I just think Khamzat's above him.
Nah, I hear that. I hear that. We're not gonna get into the whole if Khamzat wins, what happens next. We'll do that in the review after we see what happens. But in this fight, what are you expecting? Because obviously all of Khamzat's fights so far in the UFC have been finishes. So I'm just asking you, like, what are you saying? Knockout? Or are you saying sub? Where you going with this one?
Yeah, it's whatever.
It's only 3 rounds. It's a 3-round fight. I think it's a 3-round fight. So
it is. Yeah. It is. I think it's going to be whatever he decides he wants on the night, bro. He's like that, bro. If he wants to choke him out, he'll choke him out. If he wants to knock him out, he'll knock him out. Either way, it will be against the guy who has knockout power and finishing prowess, submission prowess as well against a guy like Gilbert Burns. So imagine whatever outcome it is, it will be favorable for Khamzat. It really would. But at the same time, a win for Gilbert Burns will be incredibly favorable for him. He was the guy that derailed the hype train. No matter where his career goes from here, he will always be that guy.
Exactly. I mean, a win for Burns puts him back in the title conversation first, and obviously it's a shock to the world because everyone's been talking about Khamzat and he's this and he's that, and then he'll be the first person to see like what's all the fuss about. So there's a lot on the line for Khamzat in to a certain extent, because obviously, as I said, it's a first test. Do you want to fall at the first hurdle? Everyone's going to be like, okay, so you can beat all these bums and these guys that don't give you any issues, but the 1 minute you come up against a guy that's in the top 5, you struggle. So and obviously Gilbert Burns, you think if he loses this fight, where does he go from here? Obviously, we'll get there in the review show, but it's a fight that I can see. It's a fight that's intriguing because everyone wants to see how Khamzat deals with someone else. I think he should dominate him. Burns being the smaller man and whatnot, and obviously a lot of mileage on the clock, and the fact that apart from we know he's got one punch knockout power in the jiu-jitsu, but anywhere else, like Khamzat completely dominates him. So it's going to be one of them fights where it's intriguing, but at the same time, I think we all know what's going to happen in the end. Let's be honest. But two for you, where's this going, bruv? Talk to me. What are you saying? First, second, third?
Yeah, I'm going to go second round submission, maybe even first round submission. Khamzat, what are you saying?
Oh, I think I'm going first round knockout by Khamzat, bro.
Khamzat, yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Do you know what? Speaking on this whole like X Factor and he's got something special, there's another guy in the UFC as well right now that's making a wave. Scouse dude.
My man, what's his name?
Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
And do you know what? They're proper giving him a push. And he's also got the it factor, bro. But he's been rocked twice in both of his UFC fights. And if we were talking about him, let's say giving a jump in competition and fighting a top 5 guy, I would have a lot more reservations than I would against like Khamzat doing it. Do you get what I mean? I feel like
100.
despite this being a jump in competition, and despite Khamzat probably would have benefited with one more fight before taking on such elite level competition, would have benefited him. But I don't, you know what? I feel like this is good for him. I feel like once he wins this, there's no more questioning. There's no more argument. Okay, he's ready. He's someone we can fast track.
Allahu Akbar! Woo! Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody.
100%. And people, listen, it is going to be one of them cards where you want to see it, because the 3 fights that we've gone through, any of them could be fight of the night. Any of them could be performance of the night, knockout of the night. So you need to be tuned in. But let us know what you think in the comment section. Who you got? Is it Volkanovski? Is it Korean Zombie? Is it Aljo, my boy? Is it Petr Yan? Is it Khamzat? Is it Burns? Let us know what you think. Let us know which round that people are going to win in as well. We want to hear from you, and anything else in the card as well that you want to talk about, let us know as well. And as usual, before we leave, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, get the subscriptions up. And I say all the time, share. We are here. I want to say thank you. I always love it. Thank you to my boy too. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, bro. It's always a pleasure, man. Can't wait for the review, bro.
Nah, 100%, brother. And people that review, you know what it is. It will be back. It will be here next week. So you will get the review. I'll be going through everything that has taken place on UFC 273. Coming up, I'll be back on with ST. We got boxing talk, couple fights on there. Tooth might be joining us as well. Footy Chat will obviously be back with the Truth and possibly Mr. K, especially after this result that's going on right now, because Palace are 3-0 up. F1 talk, people. I keep telling you in the comments. Get onto the truth. Get onto the truth because he's supposed to be doing it. He needs to organize it very, very soon. Also, what is there's something else going on next week as well that needs to come on, but can't remember it right now. But people, stay safe out there. Be safe.
NBA, bro.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there soon. Because obviously the playoff picture's starting to unfold, bro. So that the NBA talk will probably come up in May before the playoffs.
Bro, you never know, man. You might fuck around and get me on an NBA talk as well.
Oh, Rob, listen.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been on NBA talk, bro.
It is, bro. It is, bro. But yeah, people, stay safe out there. Be safe, and we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.